Hey everyone, it's Jason and this is your cruise news update. And we have a passenger that's furious over a canceled cruise and wants compensation. Mexico has significantly altered their new tourist tax. And what would you do if you got on your cruise and the cruise line had put a $7,000 hold on your credit card? So cruise story number one, have you ever experienced your cruise being canceled by the cruise line last minute? And if so, did you receive additional compensation outside of just a full refund? So this passenger is furious at Carnival Cruise Line as they took to social media to explain their situation. They said they were looking online and they happened to have a break in their work schedule where they could book the Carnival Valor from New Orleans, Louisiana to Barcelona, Spain. It was a 16-day cruise. It must be nice to have that break in your schedule. You could book that. They said it was 5 days before the cruise. So they saw the availability and they called up Carnival Cruise Line. And they said, hey, is this accurate? I see this is a guaranteed cabin. Is there availability? They said, absolutely there is. They said, okay, they went ahead and booked it, paid obviously the full amount for it, and they did this in the morning. And all day they were making preparations, booking flights to New Orleans, back from Barcelona, hotels. They were in the process of getting cruise insurance, and they received an email, not a phone call, an email from Carnival Cruise Line stating, we're so sorry, this cruise is overbooked, and we're issuing you a full refund. They're like, what the heck? So they call up Carnival. They said, hey, you told me this morning there was availability. I've worked all day. I've paid for flights, hotels, etc. They're like, oh, we're so sorry. Yeah, we spoke here. He goes, well, that doesn't help me. They're like, well, we're issuing you a full refund. He goes, can I get any compensation outside of that? They said, no, absolutely not. So he took to social media and said, do you think this deserves any additional compensation? Now, I thought many people would be like, look, you booked in the morning, they canceled at night, too bad, so sad. But most people said, I think about 60-40 said, I think there should be some compensation. It would have been the best thing for them to do. Hey, they advertised this. And this is what gets me. There is no laws and regulations on the way these cruise lines advertise in the United States. No one's holding their feet to the fire. If it's an airline and they do something like this, they have to pay certain compensations. Where it's a cruise line, so sorry. So he said, do you think it warrants this additional compensation? Something. And many people agreed 25% future cruise credit would have been the right thing to do. And I have to say, I agree with this. Have you ever experienced something like this? And if you did the cruise line offer additional compensation? Let me know in the comments. So cruise story number two, and we have some good news to report, as Mexico has significantly altered their new tourist tax on cruise ship passengers. So a few months ago, basically out of the blue, Mexico announced that they were going to start charging cruise ship passengers $42 per person per port. So for example, if you're going to Cozumel and Costa Maya, $84 per person. Extra. Just out of the blue. Well, the cruise lines pushed back on this heavily. And they moved the implementation day from January 1st to July 1st. Well, they continued to negotiate, and now it's not $42 per person, but $5 per person. I would say that's a pretty heck of a good negotiation there. Now in 2026, it'll go from $5 to $10, and in 2027, it'll go from $10 to $21. Also, part of this negotiation is the cruise lines agreed that they would continue to help them build their infrastructure in their ports, including a possible fourth pier in Cozumel, Mexico. What do you think? Would this have stopped you from booking Mexico? Let me know. So before I get to cruise story number 3, I would ask that you please like this video and consider subscribing, as it does help the channel grow. If you could do that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks so much. So cruise story number 3, and a lot of people are questioning Carnival Cruise Line, saying this feels like either a fraud or a scam. So a passenger said he was getting on the Carnival Radiance, and as soon as he got on the ship, he said he got an alert from his credit card company. And basically said, check your account. I think we've all seen these, and they're asking, is this accurate? And there was multiple charges from the Carnival Radiance, even though he had spent no money. And you can see him right here. Over $7,500 in credit card holds. So he goes to guest services and says, what's going on here? And they said, oh, that's normal. It's not a big deal. But it is a big deal because that eats into your credit availability. So he said this continued. A couple days later, he spent $1.46. He said it was on something little, taxes on something. And they charged another $1,000 hold. He says, if it continues, I'm not going to have any money left in my credit availability. Now, when he posted this, many people said in the comments, had this happen. And this is a warning to people, do not use your debit cards because Carnival will do this. And I had them mess up my account and I had things bounce because of it. Now, I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that sounds like a terrible situation. Others said this is exactly why I only use a cash account with Carnival Cruise Line. Other cruise lines, I don't have to worry about. Carnival, I do. I thought that was interesting. I've never experienced this on Carnival, but it seems like others have. What would you do if this happened to you? Does this feel a little like a scam or even fraud? Because if you go to their website, you can see on their website, it absolutely says, and I found this in 15 seconds. It says, cruises 7 days or longer, there's a $200 hold. Cruises under 7 days, it's a $100 hold. So why are you charging $7,500 hold when this person gets on the cruise ship? They said their beverage package, it was bought and paid for before they got on the cruise. What is going on? Have you ever experienced this on any cruise line? Now, I've had it happen with Celebrity, but as I was spending money, I saw $50, $100, $150, and it basically was about $100 more than I had spent on my cruise account. I had spent about $700 and then the holds were about $900. No big deal. Let me know what you think this is, and have you ever experienced it? So I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for the continued support. And yes, those prices continue to drop on cruises. I can tell you I had another $150 drop this past week on another cruise, and it was to Alaska. There is some really nice deals at the end of August right now on the Eurodam and the Royal Princess. Both of them go to Glacier Bay. So if you're looking for an Alaskan cruise, you might want to check those out. So I appreciate all the support, and until I talk to you soon, happy cruising.